Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American ESL Pro League. My name is Blue. Joining me here this evening is Mega Man, and we're getting started with our first match for the night, which is going to be Counterlogic Gaming taking on the Renegades from Australia. And we're already getting started with the knife round, so Mega Man, let's jump right into this one.
Yeah, starting off on Dust2, then we're going to get into some Inferno action. Then coming up after that, we actually have, I believe it's Enemy versus Complexity, and that is going to be on Train and then Cash. So 4 different maps, 4 different teams. But as that knife round concludes itself, we are going to be getting into the pistol round here. So again, Counterlogic Gaming versus Renegades Dust2, the first one of the evening. It's going to be Renegades on the CT side, Counterlogic Gaming on the terrorist side. Let's get to it, Blue.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. This should be a good map, too, specifically for CLG. When they jump onto the CT side, it should be interesting to see if they still kind of try to favor that double op setup, which they actually used for a lot of control over there. We've seen that in some of their matches in the past, but this is also with the old roster to a certain degree, so they might have faded away from this kind of strategy. We'll have to wait and see, but of course, they're starting off on the terrorist side, whereas Renegades go for a big lineup outside of the mid doors to start things off, hoping to surprise someone from CLG. They catch a little bit of damage into Cutler, but not all that much, only bringing them down to 76 HP.
If Tarek would have peeked that, it would have been shades of that video from a little while ago of the 5-op setup in mid, but this time around it's on the CT side versus them, but they're going to get a lot of information here. Spotting players going up through the catwalk. Sponge actually opens up, takes down Tarek, speak of the devil, and they're actually just playing a retake. Look at them. They're just clustered up here in mid, just waiting for either of these bomb sites to get infiltrated and then make a move, and CLG, they're kind of confused right now as to what they want to do. It looks like they are going to finally move in towards that A bomb site, but really kind of an interesting pistol round strategy from Renegades. Renegades
also, you take a look, they actually have a lot of utility to use here too. They've got a smoke still sitting on Sponge, but I think CLG had somewhat of a good counter to this one as they kept Cutler back over here towards the top of mid. So they're going to spot this 5-man push coming in back over here towards Cat. At the same time though, it's all 5 players re-pushing in through Cat. There comes that Molly, goes onto the site. Fugly doing some work though before he finally falls down to Azar. And then Hayes picking up an additional kill. He's still alive back over on the ramp. They're going to toss a Molly onto the bomb itself as they try to hold long in this final 2 versus 2. The smoke comes over it though, and although we see that kill picked up by Cutler, JKS trying to get onto the bomb, but he can't find it, and Cutler is just going to mop the floor with the final 2 players of the Renegades.
Crazy bold strategy there from Renegades. It's just a shame that it didn't pay off, as you do see Counterlogic Gaming picking up that round. Nice use of the utility late game on that one. They did have a kit to play with on the backup. I believe it was JKS at the end of that round who picked it up off of Sponge's dead body. This time they're going to invest on the Renegade side, 2 scouts and a couple of pistols with armor, and they tag JDM through mid, so the early damage already getting on the board, 34 HP for him to start things off. And again, they're going to go for this aggression towards long A on the Renegade side. So interesting little bit of a revamp of the previous strategy.
A lot of big stacks still happening for the members of the Renegades too. 3 players positioned just outside of the long doors, waiting for CLG to push in through there. But CLG themselves have a pretty passive setup when you take a look at how they've gone about things, especially with JDM being hit pretty early on in this round. They're just going to sit back, wait for some more aggression to come out for Renegades, which means the time is probably going to get ticked down quite a bit for CLG, are basically forced to make a move here.
And again, we see Sponge here in mid just waiting for that peak to come out. You can see it's actually Fugly down there in lower along with Tarek, just waiting for any kind of aggression to come out here from the CTs. But they're not budging on the spots that they're playing. Sponge still trying to spot something, actually gets dinked up through mid double doors down to 63. So a nice little find of damage there from Tarek. But again, that bomb looks like it's rotating its way down through mid, and they might actually end up splitting towards B. And there are 2 terrorists working their way back through spawn. And it looks like it is going to be a mid to B crush, and this is the right call. They've only got 1 player over there. That's going to be the scout of Azar. He's going to have work ahead of him. And he's in a good spot to do some damage here, but then he relinquishes that area, so he's going to get caught out very, very soon. He's going to go pick down towards mid, finds a little bit of extra damage, but Hayes is just going to annihilate him, and now B is open for the taking.
And they're just going to roll right in here. Renegades, this is the riskier part about trying to take this kind of strategy, is obviously if it gets red, like CLG managed to do there, they can just waltz right into this B bomb site. And there was even a bit of confusion from Azar, so he thinks it's only being played from middle, so all of his attention is devoted to trying to pick up at least 1 frag from there. Doesn't even realize that the tunnel push was going to come out so swiftly, so he's shut down there via mid, and regardless, so the tunnel push actually doesn't really mean all that much. And now it's just a duck hunt to find the final 3 players here on Renegades and prevent them from saving anything.
Yeah, send that MAC-10 out. Let him do some work. Hayes, you can see him coming up from CT ramp. He's going to have a crossfire on him. He actually gets tagged down, and there is another player that's up there at the top side of the A bomb site who's going to find him out, so Ustillo is going to get on the board here. And Tarek a little bit late to the party here on Catwalk. He's down at 38, so he's got to play this one very cautiously as well. They've actually got 2 very low players up there peeking on the corner of Cat. And JDM's actually going to go up there and try to take this fight, but They're going to at least hold on to 3 weapons moving into the next round. Head armor on 2 players, but it's 2-0 now for Counterlogic Gaming, and they only lost 1 player in that last round. So nicely managed from them, and that was only the MAC-10 that lost his life. Plus, he picked up a kill, too, so he's just going to upgrade straight to the AK.
Yeah, no pickups really either, so it's not a huge deal for CLG to sit back and let them save. The only big gun now that they're going to have to worry about is Sponge working with the Scout. Beyond this, it's just a couple upgraded pistols, and they easily have enough rifles and whatnot to work against this. However, there's that Scout doing some work, and we can see Hayes, too, at the top of mid. He's about to get exploded upon, but it's only going to need 1 player to shut him down, as Stilo manages to take him out. Fugly, he's been distracted, too, but he can hold his own for the time being. However, now it's down to just 2 players left alive from CLG, and they're up against 3 from the Renegades. JKS also having scavenged a rifle with the head armor as well.
Yeah, that's really scary, and Azur actually went over into Terrorist Spawn and picked up another Scout, so they've got a pretty solid arsenal to work with into this round, and if Azur just holds this angle, he's going to get a lot of information because they're going to walk right around this corner. He might be able to just eliminate Fugly, and he's going to miss the shot. Actually takes him down to 36, but there's JKS right around the corner. Fugly is shoulder peeking out, and he's going to get chipped down to 39, but Sponge still watching for the cross, dealing out some more damage, and they can't even cross. This is a really tough spot. Now they smoke it out. Oh, he just unscopes. I was hoping that he would have taken that shot, but he unscopes at an unlikely time, so he's going to come back around and take another aggressive angle here.
Now taking a look at the final situation, Sponge is waiting for the wrapper on that corner. They're getting low on time, and they have to try and get towards the site, was my assumption, but it doesn't play out very well. And now Sponge, great timing too on that final shot. I think he just spots Fugly before the smoke ends up, before the flashbang ends up exploding. So he's able to take him down, and there's Renegades with a bit of an upset round against the guys on CLG.
Yeah, they're still going to force up here on the terrorist side, AKs and a Tech 9, but really that was a kind of a silly round right there. I mean, they knew where both of the players were. They had that smoke down in Terrorist Spawn as well, and they had 38 seconds. They could have booked it all the way back to the B-bomb site. Instead, Tarek takes a peek, and it ends up costing him his life and drops the bomb again. So, a little bit of a mistake there, and Yam already on the AWP going into this round. Finds JDM at long A. They've got 2 more players here to hold this one down, and that's going to be Azur as well chiming in. Yam again on the board. We saw this guy do some crazy things on Train earlier in the season in the first matchup that they had. And they're just getting completely annihilated on the CLG side. It's just down to Fugly. He's going to at least get a parting gift here, but there is one more up there in window with the Scout. That is Sponge. He might be able to make something happen here.
So it's all on Fugly now. He's got the pressure coming in from Sponge, but Fugly a little late on actually spotting Sponge, despite the fact that he actually had a grenade in his hand, so he'll miss the opportunity to find a kill there. Still has the bomb, but does not want to risk on going for the plant, so just moving out, looking for those kills. Won't be able to catch them, however, as Yam shuts it down, and now the Renegades will tie things up at 2 rounds each. For CLG, though, their economy is going to be broken, so they have to go into a pretty light save round here, and Renegades are armed to the teeth.
Yeah, this is where it's going to start really spiraling a little bit for Counterlogic Gaming, because now they're going to be back on that save. They don't have a whole lot of money. They will be able to buy up in the next round, especially if they get a bomb plant here, but I mean, not a lot to work with, and they're walking down towards long A. The nades come on out, and Hazed is down to 47. Ooh. JDM got tagged on the cross. The smoke comes out. They're going to push through and just get mowed down. There's still a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Last one is Cutler. Push the smoke. Do it. Get the ace.
Yeah, it's all in Cutler, and they essentially just walk into their own deaths. Not a whole lot that CLG were going to be able to do this round, but obviously that was more than likely not the best path they could have taken. But once they were out that door, it seems the team was committed to it, so they just end up getting, as you said, mowed down by everybody on Renegades. And they'll pick up an easy round from there, and a good amount of economy being built up already here by the CTs. Taking a look at Azur along with Sponge specifically, 8.2k, and Sponge at 5.8, and he's actually still sticking with the Scout. Now this is where it's going to get interesting, however, because CLG also have the big guns in their hands, and this could pose a problem for some of those guys that have stuck, more specifically Sponge sticking down with the Scout. If he's overwhelmed, he's going to be an easy target for elimination.
Yeah, but JDM without the AWP, and that's kind of a crucial thing. Keep the money low on the Counterlogic Gaming side so they can't put the AWP into JDM's hands, and so far so good. Sponge has had this Scout since the 2nd round as well, and we're now into the 6th, so that's one of the reasons why his economy is good. I'm not sure, he might have even dropped a rifle over to one of his teammates in the, not last round, but the previous round before that. So, again, we're going to see a lot of smoke play here on long A, cordoning off that area. There is one player out there, that is Cutler, but, at least Sponge letting his presence be known here in mid. They know that there's a Scout in play. So this could get a little bit dicey here for Renegades if they do decide to go for a smoke B play. And it's going to be very difficult for JKS and Sponge to hold this with a Scout and an M4.
The T-smoke starts to come out through the tunnels, and this actually attracts the attention of Sponge, but just look at how aggressive he's being. He had those shots going through the mid doors earlier, trying to bait players out to actually push him. considering he would be an easier target with that scout, and now he's going to hold up close to the door itself. But unfortunately, because of this, he's left mid wide open, so these players are pushed in so far. There's the first entry from Hayes. Sponge trying to connect some shots on a JDM, finally get to him, but it's far too late. They found him out, and JDM's going to shut it down. Now also full control of that B bomb site, and nobody from CLG has even gone down yet. This will be a rough retake if Renegades even decide to go for it. It doesn't look like they're doing so. Azur's backing up. We'll probably see Yam do the same in just a moment.
Yeah, Yam needs to survive with the op and not give it over to CLG here. That's really kind of the most crucial part about this. They've got the money to go into the next round and buy up again, so this isn't a huge loss for the CT side, especially if they can keep all three of these players alive through to the next round. And Ustillo is in a really good spot to catch out Hazed if he pushes back into T-spawn. Plus, he's got Azur coming around the corner as well, so this is going to get tricky. Hazed actually gives up his position, and there you go. They pounce. Tarek almost gets taken down too. He's only got 19 health to work with, and JDM at 27, so they're going to filter out through the B-halls. And now coming down through mid. Oh, nice shot from Cutler. Azur goes down. And actually, Ustillo goes for the peak. Kind of a dicey situation, but he ends up surviving. They will go into the next round with a full buy. So not too bad. Tied up 3-3. Counterlogic Gaming able to rout him with a nice push there in the mid-B split.
Yeah, and they can afford to lose that player at the end of the round, looking at the money they have now. Obviously, saving it would have helped out, but most of these guys are in very secure positions, so they can easily afford that one rebuy. CLG go directly into their next round, however, it's the same thing. Still no op being seen on JDM just as of yet. And the team is going to start themselves off with a little bit of a split. Two of the players inside of the halls trying to make some action over on the B-bomb site. Renegades have put a lot more security over there this time around, as they were sort of overwhelmed and sort of got surprised for the previous round. And for the rest of them, just sitting outside of the long doors, waiting to see if there's going to be any aggression either through mid or in those doors itself. Ustillo is the one that's sitting up very close and personal, trying to hold them back.
Yam's going to get a golden opportunity here. Just barely misses that shot onto Fugly. That was treacherously close. And are they going to push through mid double doors here? They actually do. Sponge pounces and finds Tarek. Nice awareness from him. Opening up first blood here for the Renegades side.
That was the one good thing too about Sponge actually going down in the previous round, is he was using the scout, and this was to save money. Now he's got a real rifle in his hands, and he's still keeping to that sort of aggressive style of play. And obviously with the rifle, it's going to work out way better. So immediately we see the impact of that. Catches Tarek completely on amidst and takes him down. But now they're looking for a response to this as Hayes pushing through towards the mid doors, lands on a molly, but he picks the kill on his Sponge. Unfortunately, Azur is still in CT, so he's able to catch the trade. And Ustillo picking up an additional kill for those CTs back over outside of the long doors. It's a good trade, and it still plays heavily into the favor of the guys on the Renegades. Cutler's also basically a dead man walking at this point at 6 HP. And what do you know? He dies just as we were talking about that. JKS will be shutting him down. Everything hinges onto Fugly at this point, who as well is going to be put into a high-pressure situation. Only manages to pick up one of those kills, though. Azur's going to take him down, and Renegades will keep their lead going.
And they salvage the op. Ustillo's at $10,000 right now, so he's going to throw that over to Yam. Buy up an M4 into this next round. Nicely managed again from the Renegade side. And that aggression from Sponge, he knew. They threw the smoke up on an Xbox, and he heard, because he was close on double doors, he heard one or two of them go up already. So he just took a risky peek, and it ends up paying dividends for his team in the long run. So really nicely done from them. And now it's just going to be this massive push out long A, but there's 3 CTs here to defend this area. Flashbang goes out around the corner, and the nades are doing the damage. JDM is already down to 19 HP.
Now Renegades trying to hug the wall here to keep themselves in contest, and it's working out great. 2, 3, and 4 kills. Everybody from CLG just bows down. Fugly, really the only player that can seem to pick up kills. However, ultimately just stands in the fire. They're looking for a couple more before he's going to end up dying anyway. So not too bad of a situation for him as he picks up a couple more of those frags. The team itself struggling a little bit here to find some impact, as now Renegades is starting to get a good lead going about themselves. And once again, CLG will find their economy in shambles. Won't really be able to pick up too much this round.
And here's the impact of JDM not having the op. He's 1-5 right now. We've seen this guy, I mean, take over matches as Yam picks him off in mid, talking about JDM, but we've seen him literally take over matches with the AWP. Overpass, you know, Cobblestone, Train, all these different maps that are op heavy, especially even Dust2. And without him being able to have the economy to get that scoped gun into his hands, it's just obviously not paying off here. He can't open up these areas. And Fugly, I mean, he's 9-7 right now. He's at the top of his team, actually doubled up on anybody else on his team right now. And they can't get anything going. That's the trick. They need to get the off into JDM's hands. So they need to take the big save here. They're going to buy up to this round because they're all at 4,300 plus. But again, JDM's not going to have the op. Nobody can even drop him over an op and go for the naked buy.
The unfortunate thing about these ecos too, partially because they're taking them so light, but also because the positioning they find themselves in is just poor from attempt to attempt, is that they're just not really making any impact whatsoever for the most part on these eco rounds, even when they do buy into it a little bit more heavily. So Renegades is getting to stack up a really, really good economy on a lot of their players now. There's just not a lot of trades happening, so Renegades is getting a lot of these free rounds. They're getting to build up a lot of money behind it, which means when and if we start to see CLG picking up a couple points here, it's going to take a bit to wane down Renegades to where they can try to tie it back up again. So we do see them trying to get aggressive, and Tarek's watching out for this. Yam doesn't care, though, as he just shuts him down, and the bomb gets dropped in the upper halls.
Yeah, I really like this change from Renegades. You know, they went for, aggression, 3 players at long A the last couple of rounds. This time around, it's Yam pushing with a teammate in tow in the tunnels, and he actually goes all the way back towards the mid corridor and picks off another one pushing up on Cat. So Yam doing the damage this round, and this is the Yam that we want to see. I mean, take control of the matchup with the AWP.
This is Yam versus Enemy like 2 weeks ago, or just last week now when we saw them play versus that. He went absolutely crazy in that first
match. Was it
map.
42 kills or something like that?
Yeah, he carried the team for the first map.
Absolutely nuts match.
So he's not leading in frags by a huge margin, but he's getting some pretty crazy kills. Already 2 in this round, and now CLG, they're just stuck in mid trying to figure out where exactly they want to go. They're just going to decide on a little bit of a push up here towards Cat, and I honestly don't even know if they're going to stick to this. Might have just been making some noise. You could tell there's a little bit of communication going on in the team right now, but Fugly's going to join up with Cutler. Looks like... No, they're still not decided. Looks like they're trying to push some of their players out through the mid doors now, as there will be that Cat play coming out from JDM, but once he's dead, now the real play comes in towards the B-bomb site.
Yeah, and this setup over here at A was really, really strong. Sponge just throws his life away, and there's the spray. JKS, nicely done, nicely handled. Yam doesn't even have to do a thing back there, but, we were kind of talking about Yam and the fact that, he's not top fragging for his team right now. He's one below the top fragger. They're fragging as a unit right now, which is really good to see. But the impact of the kills that he is having is just completely annihilating any momentum that CLG could possibly have going into the round. He's shutting down their plays super early in the round and just giving that man advantage and just allowing the rest of Renegades to just relax, take their time, and now they've reset CLG again. And with this save and the money bonus that's starting to stack up, they might be able to get it up into JDM's hands. But Yam, again, onto Hazen mid.
And they just dropped the bomb in mid here too. They're going to try to retrieve it, but they already know that they've got that pressure stacked up towards mid. There's a good shot from Fugly, but Yam still alive with this op. 3 kills for him, even when he's pressured through the mid doors. There's no utility or anything behind this, unfortunately, so not a whole lot that's going to be able to stop them from picking up those shots. Stall on Cutler and JDM. They're looking to try to take down Yam. Cutler meeting some success. They bring him down to 50 HP, but still not a kill. And now they have to fall back, and they're getting pressured through mid. They don't see that coming. Azure picking up 1 and 2 kills. A swift cleanup. Now giving Renegades a huge lead, 8-3 currently.
I really like what Renegades are doing here on Dust2. Just changing things up round in and round out. I don't think they've even played the same setup twice so far on their CT side. I mean, pistol round was that aggression towards mid. The first eco round was aggression towards long. The one after that was the aggression up Cat. They've pushed B tunnels. They've pushed 3 on long A. Like, they are throwing the kitchen sink at them. But now you see JDM's actually got the AWP, and they actually go for a little bit of long control. So they yield the long control this round, but Yam through the smoke in mid finds Hazed again. How many times has he killed Hazed to start a round off? This is like 3 or 4 in a row.
What's so unfortunate too is you would have thought that CLG would take this round a lot more cautiously, considering now they finally got that investment from JDM, and they would have used that along with the rest of the team to the biggest of their ability. Now they're already down a player, and that instantly can ruin the effect that JDM could possibly have in a real gunfight. Now he's got to be extra careful, because this has opened up so much more map control for the Renegades, and they're taking use of it too. Azar and Ostilo sitting back over here. Ostilo is even going to start to get aggressive back on Cat. Yam picked up an additional kill on Tarek, but JDM did trade that down, so finally Yam has fallen. And this as well could lessen the impact coming in from the Renegades as well, as he's been absolutely crucial in quite a few of these previous rounds.
JDM is the X factor right now. He's out mid, but JKS has got to be privy to this. He heard him scoping in. Now JDM's got the position compromised, but he's going to eat an 8 and fall back in towards middle a little bit. So not really too much for him to worry about. Flashbang goes out over the top, and we should see JKS actually falling back into the B-bomb site. So smart play. They're going to turtle up right here, and JDM gets caught out. Ustilo actually drops off a catwalk and takes him down. Last 2 coming down through long. It's Fugly and Cutler to try to make something happen, but Azur's behind the quad box at the top side of the A site, and there's no smoke for the cross. This is just going to be a death trap.
So they pushed in. Yeah, Cutler picks up 1 kill, but that's about it. Nothing left for them to do, especially with Estilo getting that aggressive push to take down JDM. The op falls. It's even retrieved here too, and of course that'll keep Yam alive on the board, so he's not really gonna have to spend all that much for his own rebuy. It's starting to get very, very brutal here. And for CLG, as they go for another rebuy, it's back down to just 5 AKs. No op presence this time around.
Yeah, so this is where that crippling effect of the economy game comes into factor. 12 rounds behind us, 9-3 for Renegades. I mean, this is a huge lead on the CT side. You would expect a lot more rounds, at least on the terrorist side. Nustilo already aggressive here along A. I don't know if they're expecting this to be a save or if they're expecting this to be a buy. At least now they know. Cutler's going to be able to pick off Nustilo, getting a little too aggressive for his own good. And that swings the man advantage to the CLG side.
They group up in mid yet again. Now we have to see where they decide to push with this, because Hayes is going to make some action over here on Cat, pushing in, and actually Renegades have taken a little bit more of an aggressive approach, at least to the A defense. They're going to try to stop Long from being taken over. Yam's moved into here. He's looking for that trade on a Cutler, but Cutler's aware of this and goes for a little bit of a shaky shot there as he jumps over, just to make sure that the op presence is there. Azure, in the meantime, moved all the way back. He's got the smoke, and CLG seem to be like really respective of these smokes. Very rarely have they push through, and this is going to be one of the few times they do, and it works out great, because they can take down Azure with it, and now they have good timing on their own smokes too, so a good amount of control being taken. And not just this, but Yam and Sponge are so low, so there's already that kill being picked up on towards Yam. Sponge is trying to push back in here and get some molly pressure onto the site itself, but ultimately he has to hang back and wait for JKS to get into a better position. He has to be the late entry to try and surprise some of these players if he wants to have any chance of taking a kill in an even 1 versus 1.
No sense in throwing away the rifles at this point, even though they do have a crap load of money in their hands. Cutler going to go up there towards terrorist spawn. He's tagged down to 4 HP. And now they're going to push off a Cat. Nice spin around there from Sponge. Finds one. They weren't ready for JKS to be there for the trade as well. So on 100 HP, he can still do a lot more damage here to the economy of the CLG side. He's got, who is that down in mid? Tarek, I believe, to 16 HP, but nobody's going to overpeak here, so...
They're going to let him live. He's already done too much damage. Him and Sponge, actually. That's like way more than should have happened. He does end up going down to Hayes, but with the money as low as it is on CLG, like losing 2 of those players at the end of the round when you had 5 alive initially, it's not really going to help out your case very much, especially with Renegades having the amount they had.
And there you go. They actually buy up the op and throw it over to JDM. Actually, they saved it from the last round, pardon me. So he's at least going to have that going into this round, and Yam, they smoke off mid. He's not really going to have too much of a eye for this one, but there's the battle. It's about to happen here in middle. Oh, and look at this. Azure and Ustilo. Again, the aggression on Cat. They're going to have this super fast flank on Long. Sponge just trying to hold them back for as long as they can. Yam's going to come over here as well to try to bail out this situation, but look at this push coming from behind.
No one's watching behind them right now. They just checked it, but now they're still not going to see the presence coming in. I think Hayes has realized that something's up, so they're keeping their eyes on it. They still have to hold this in a 1 versus 2. He's revealed his presence, and down he goes. Now the rest of the team has to react. Renegade's still taking it a little bit slow, so now they're going to start to peek out. Fugly, he's been met with some pressure too, as he actually boxed them in, so they handle that quite nicely. They still have Ustilo to deal with. He's going to be able to take down Fugly, so he gets himself out of that box. Now he's placed his team into a 3-on-2, however.
Tarek's the X-Factor this round.
Tarek having split from himself, he's going to find an easy pickup over on the JKS, and now it's just on Ustilo.
Yeah, he took that, he capitalized on that opportunity to just run on through the B-bomb site and get that flank. Nicely done from Tarek, read the situation properly, and now they got to know that Ustilo has fallen back from Long and is going to be coming around towards the A-bomb site. JDM should have a reasonably easy shot on him here, and he misses it.
Never say something is relatively easy, as you know it's going to miss the second you say that. Unless he's like 1 HP in a 1 versus 4, because now look what's happening.
I know. Well, taking guns away is the best case scenario here for Renegades. They really need to get this 10-5 at the half, too. This would be really bad if they let CLG get 6 rounds. So double up for the terrorist side now.
That'll be interesting to see how that works, because now I'm a little bit more curious to see if Renegades is going to keep up the aggression they've been pushing towards, or whether they're going to hold back, because if they keep trying to play aggressively, then this double op setup could actually be pretty potent in taking down some of those players. But if they decide to hold back a little more now, and they might do this considering they themselves have a double op setup, then it might not end up being as useful, especially when it comes time for CLG to pick up some of those entries.
Yeah, this should be a much more passive setup from the Renegade side. They've been putting the pressure on round in and round out, and here you go. That's actually a really nice find. That's one of the ops out of the hands of the Renegade side early on in this round, but Yam's got his own at Long. He's going to find that pick on a Cutler who had the op for the terrorist side. Tarek did salvage it, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. So, not bad to start off the round, but again, going into this one with 2 AKs and 2 AWPs, and they've actually salvaged the second op now, and it's on Azur's back, so... Rifles versus ops. Interesting combo.
But CLG going to the default spot, just stacking themselves up towards mid, and Azur with the op himself looking for the pick on a JDM, and he's going to find it with the class. Shuts him down. The majority of the rest of the team is stuck back over here on Cat now, trying to make a push, and I think that was an HE that almost basically was a touchdown there. Fugly and Hayes now down at 57 and 64. So they're actually going to give up this Cat play pretty quickly. Now go up against Azur. Azur missing the shot, but he knows the play is coming in. Doesn't miss it the second time. Where's the flashbangs? That's a real question here. Because look, now he's just walking into these shots. Finally, Fugly picks up at least one of these kills, but now he's alone in a 1 versus 3. This is like the 4th time this has happened this half. That's a very brutal way to end it, unfortunately. 10-5, with Renegades leading is how this half is going to end.
That was a big half. That was a big way to shut out the half as well from Renegades. Azur getting a nice little confidence booster there in mid, picking off 3 of them. So really nice stuff from Renegades in the first round. I love the way that they switched up the way that they played their rounds. And we'll see if they can carry that momentum going into the second half. They did lose 2 rounds out of the last 3, but they were able to capitalize on that last one, and ending the half on a high note is always beneficial to your morale. So nicely done from them. 10-5 for Renegades. Now remember, guys, after this matchup is over, we do have the same 2 teams facing off on Inferno. So it's 2 BO1, so keep that in mind. It's not a BO2 format.
All right, well, just waiting for the teams to ready up, and then we'll jump back into it, guys. But Renegades having some very, very good momentum about them. It could be a very brutal half. The CLG needs to make some big corrections here. And the other part, too, is just how bad their ecos were going. If they drop this pistol round, then have to start off with those ecos yet again. If they can't respond within that first gun round, then it's going to get really rough. And honestly, Renegades might just end up shutting down the second half completely. Because I already talked about this. Their ecos, we really weren't seeing a whole lot of impact being made by the guys on CLG. And for their management of the T-side economy, which is often easier to work with, they barely ever even got that op into the hands of JDM until very, very late on into the half. They're not going to have that opportunity to try and build it up over a period of many rounds this time, as they're on a very short leash. They need to try and get it up quickly if they want to use that op power on JDM to be an anchoring factor to win this game.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. Two of the 5 rounds that Counter Logic Gaming won were 2 rounds that JDM had an op. I think he only had it for 3 rounds the entirety of that first half. And that is not what you want. You want your opera to have that constantly. You want him to be able to open up bomb sites, and you can see he's sitting at 6 and 11. Fugly is at 14 and 13. This isn't a guy that is known for top fragging for his rosters. He's known for being a solid, middle of the pack, impact fragging guy. And for him to be at the top, that's kind of a little bit unusual, and that shows that, obviously things weren't working out too well for CLG on their terrorist side. Now Fugly, he's going to get caught out here on Cat.
I think the worst part about Fugly's situation too was obviously not in this round, but in quite a few of the rounds on that last half, he was often the last player alive, and despite him being in like 1 versus 3s, 1 versus 4s, and sometimes 1 versus 5s, he would still at least get 1 or 2 kills before going down. A lot of his kills came from that specifically, so it doesn't look very good when the rest of your teammates fall down when you still have the support of them.
Yeah, now they're left with only 1 player watching for this cross into the A-bomb site. It's JDM with the USP here over by Car's side, or Game Helper, depending on what version of Counter-Strike you're coming from. And they're just going to smoke off CT and explode into this A-bomb site. They actually drop 1 down. This is going to get really hard for JDM to hold. And he's not going to be able to do anything. Now Cutler at long A, he's going to get flanked out here, and he goes down as well. So really nicely executed strat from Renegades, and there should be a 0% chance of them losing this round at this point.
So Tarek looking to pick up at least a couple kills here as he takes a bit of a duel versus the player at top mid against Azur. But not really going to connect all that much as he peeks back out here, unfortunately. Gets dinged down to 1 HP. Still somehow manages to turn that duel back around and win it. The round will not be turning itself on its head, though, as it's still a 2 versus 4. They're really just looking for kills at this point. There's not a lot of merit in saving, with the exception of keeping that armor alive, but I think they just want to try and grab as many kills as possible here. There's Hayes finding another one. They're actually making a lot of progress now. They brought this down to a 2 versus 2. They're running out of time, however, and there's no kit. And I think they've just passed the 10-second marker. Regardless, Ustilo is going to shut down the final 2 players single-handedly. He picks up a 4K on this pistol round, and Renegades will keep their lead strong to start off the second half.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that was actually a lot closer in the end. They didn't have time, but they at least eliminated pretty much all of the players, with the exception of just 1 there at the end. Really nicely done there from the Renegades side. Nicely executed strat. They got that early pick, and then they were able to just group up and hit that bomb site altogether. But this is going to be a little bit scary. It's a stack towards long A. Then all of the terrorist side. That pop flash is so good. They find one, but Ustilo's got the P90, and the Galils are coming out. JKS is going to be able to answer back with 2 of his own.
they were very split up again. We saw that same problem in the last round of the first half where the players are like meshed super far apart. So after we picked up that first kill, the second teammate from CLG took so long to get into position that they had already recovered from the flash at this point. So now that they picked up all those kills, they're going to walk right up onto this site. Tarek's the last one alive in the 1 versus 4, and there'll be a dead man, and very quickly. However, he's definitely going to go down with a little bit of a fight here. Picking up one, very cautious to find that second frag, but then the touchdown grenade comes in from Yam to take him out, and Renegades find their 12th round.
And, you know, we've been talking about Yam throughout the first half with his AWP being so impactful. Ustilo is quietly kind of crept up here at 20 frags and 4 deaths. I mean, that is a crazy kill-to-death ratio going on right now. 5 kill-to-death ratio. That's insane. But nevertheless, I mean, he's doing a sensational job. We saw him struggle when Renegades were playing against enemy on Mirage. When they lost that, I think it was like 16-4 or 16-6 in that matchup. This time around, doing a lot more work, and he's just going to lead this one out with the P90. Yam is going to be able to find Hazed, and they do pop flash in through the double doors, but they're not going to be able to really capitalize on too much here unless Tarek can go nuts with this Desert Eagle.
This is really the only big gun they've brought into this. Getting some good damage out, but that's about it. Fugly, too, has a good chance to find a couple frags. Will not be taking it as Azur rips him to shreds with the MAC-10. Steal it to finish it off, and now we get into that first gun round, and with how lightly CLG were taking those ecos, we would hope to see the op, and we are going to see it. Not in the hands of JDM. Actually, we do see it in the hands of JDM along with Tarek, so they're going to immediately jump on the double op setup train. This is a big strat for them. They like to play this, but it does rely on both of these ops being extremely prevalent and extremely effective. JDM's is not going to have any armor behind it, so that's a bit risky. We'll have to see how it pays off.
Yeah, both teams, this is a massive investment from both sides. Double up right out of the gate into the first gun round. This is kind of a crazy investment. Sponge didn't even pick up the op until the last round of the first half and got annihilated immediately going into that round. So Tarek's going to have one playing from window, JDM's going to have one playing from car, and Sponge and Yam are both here in mid, just looking for any kind of aggression over in this area, but they're not really going to find anything over here as mid is pretty much vacant. So just going to creep their way up on Catwalk, and if they can get the trade onto JDM, that would be absolutely massive and crack this bomb site wide open.
So Renegades taking it slow initially. The smoke starts to come out in middle, and Tarek's going to move out to investigate this, putting himself actually just on the edge of the smoke in the corner, waiting for the pop flash so they can wrap around this. He's going to be the big player to try and stop the mid play, but keep in mind, Renegades still actually haven't committed themselves to this type of play as of yet. They're keeping Azur sitting in the back of the halls, or the upper halls, I should say, waiting to see if there's going to be a push to maybe find a kill or two, but they're not finding it. Now the smoke's faded away, and Tarek has got to fall back to the boxes, but he's too slow with it. Ustilo finds him while he's still out in the open, eliminates him, and now mid is open for the taking. They go for a very, very deep smoke, actually past CT spawn, just below Catwalk, and now they can't even wrap into this, but Hayes is doing work, holding off this site single-handedly. He's going to go outside of it, though, as they want to work the 4 versus 2 retake. Peeking back in, that's way too aggressive, though, because now JKS just gets behind him and shuts him out. Going back inside of the site, JKS, whew, a little risky there, holding a safe position, though. Now the bomb goes down. It'll be a 2 versus 3 for the retake. CLG, they cannot save here. They have to go for this retake.
That was such a boss play from Hazed, but Azur is going to answer right on back, and now it's down to a 2 versus 2. Op and AK versus Op and M4, and this is a great angle from Azur. He finds the second one, and it's all down to Fugly. 1 versus 2. Trying to make his way in through window. Not ready for this guy to be in default, but Azur's going to clean it up anyway. And that was such a massive hold from Hazed at the B bomb site, getting all 3 of those kills when they were trying to run in. It's just unfortunate that he falls in the long run to that pinch coming out from mid and from the B tunnels, but Renegades, they are looking very strong here on Dust2. I don't think that there's really going to be too much that CLG is going to be able to do. They're putting all their eggs in one basket here, going for the armor and the pistols, 2 FAMASs. Not a whole lot of utility to work with this round. They've got a couple of flashes, and they picked up 3 Molotovs. We'll see if they can do anything to stay alive in this matchup.
Yeah, not really all that much that they can afford to bring into this one. Just 2 big rifles, and they're going to put 1 on either site. So, reality, you're relying on 1 big player to do most of the work, and a couple of those pistol players to get up close and personal, maybe finding a couple trades before they end up going down. But Renegades stacking themselves outside of middle, and a couple players outside of the long doors, too. So it's more than likely going to anchor itself over towards an A play, and they're being very light on the actual site defense. Cutler has placed himself over here by the car, and he's going to wait for that push from Cat, but if he gets pushed in and at the same time the push through the A doors ends up being successful, that is where this team could ultimately just falter, and the final two won't even be able to do anything about it. That'll put Renegades on match point, and the economy, as we've already seen, is beyond broken at this point, so they're going to have to go for a full save. Cutler already falls. That's one rifle down on the ground, and Yamp just taking his sweet time. His two other teammates, they've been mollied off, but there's no pressure being thrown against them by the members of CLG. You can see back over down below in CT spawn, JDM, he's been flashed back. He can't do anything, and they're even pressuring on other points of the map too. Finally, Fugly picking up that angle over towards long, so they're not going to hold control of this, and also, Bustilo getting overwhelmed. He almost finds a kill on a Tarek, bringing him down to 7 HP, but at the same time, he's also going to hand over a rifle towards Tarek. Now the retake begins, and they are a man up, so let's see how they handle this.
That bomb's been ticking away for a little while now. JDM and Fugly both do have kits. One coming up from CT spawn. He's trying to get the shot, and there goes one of the kits. JDM down. Sponge is going to find a second one on a Tarek. Both of the last two players are crossing here. Yam in the sight's going to find the first. Nazar is there for support. 15-5 now. Renegades on map point. We'll see if they can shut this one down now. There's not a whole lot of money to work with on CLG's side. And it doesn't really matter because nothing's really been going their way in this matchup. 5 straight rounds on the T side for Renegades. Put them at match point.
The other factor that obviously always comes into play when you get this deep into the match as well, with your opposing team having this big of a lead, is now you have to be this flawless from this point forward. 10 rounds in a row, where they've barely been able to pick up 2 in a row previously. So it's a very daunting task for CLG to amount to now to actually tie this game up. Not even actually win this map, but just to take it into OT. So they honestly might just want to start focusing on map number 2 now.
Yeah, and it certainly doesn't help that Hayes got smacked down to 36 HP on the cross. JKS is down at 26, so they do have a pretty equal footing as far as HP is concerned right now in this round, but let's see if they can recover from this one. CLG, such a hill to climb right now, and Renegades, they've just got them in a chokehold.
And CLG's players just trying to hold probably some of the most passive angles ever, at least when you look at like Tarek, what he's doing right now, just jumping behind the boxes. He doesn't even want to take a risk on being exposed if there's a play through middle. Definitely won't be the case when you take a look at where the Renegades' members are currently stacked towards. JKS, a little bit lower. He's just going to watch out for the flank through the B-hulls. But the rest of the team, they're getting ready to explode out over here towards long. This could actually work quite well when you look at Fugly along with JDM, but they've been flashed as they round at the corner. Fugly finding one. He's trading back out. Now JDM goes to the peak. Another trade, but this is not going to work when the final 3 have a less than impressive arsenal. And also JKS is the only player that's really been brought even low now, down to 26 HP. And he's also in a position to watch out for this exact type of play. Peeking out. The health pool definitely hurts him there. Cutler will be able to take him down. But now Yam trading that back out. Finds Tarek. And now you just have Hayes and Cutler to try and save this map for their team.
But again, no smoke on the cross, and Hayes is going to be able to pounce. Finally takes the op out of their hands. Sponge up here in sight. The HP value is so low for both of these players trying to make their way back around, and if Cutler peeks at the wrong time, ooh, Sponge just turns at the wrong moment. They're trying to distract so Hayes can get up here, but he's privy. He's going to find the first one. Can he clutch this one out? 1 versus 2. And he does it. 16-5. Renegades absolutely demolish CLG.
And that's basically it, to be completely honest. Just demolishing them. There was a lot of issues for CLG that we were seeing with their players sort of being separate and trying. Like that last round was the perfect example of what we saw in quite a few rounds where they just pushed that final opper one by one, no flash or any sort of utility being used by that. Their players are just getting ripped apart where the rest of the team was not in a position to trade it back out. So a lot of situations like that happening gave Renegades is such a huge advantage that just was unsurmountable from that point forward to try and make a comeback happen. So they're going to have to try and fix that very quickly heading on to map number 2. Otherwise, we could be looking at a similar result.
Yeah, it was interesting. You talked a little bit about that last round. It was a 2 versus 3. CLG had the advantage going into the end. There were no smokes for the cross at long A, and they had a player in CT spotting for that cross. There was a player that pushed up off a catwalk and went up into the A site and ended up getting picked off for literally no cause whatsoever. That player could have been back on cat and waited for the peak to come for the cross since there was no smoke there. So, not really sure if there was a little bit of just miscommunication on the CLG side or what, but that wasn't a round that they should have lost there to close out the matchup. Now, to say that they would have been able to come back from that is a little bit of a preposterous hypothesis, but again, just an ass whooping coming out from Renegades.
All right, well, that is going to close out the first map, guys. Stick around, and we'll be back with the second map between these two teams in just a little bit here at the ESL Pro League for North America.